Well, what's the record then for the champions turn out in the gym?
We know the story when Naz came into the gym. He said, "Brendan, I want you to kick everybody out of the gym and just train me. I'm paying you enough."
On Times Square, there was a big
billboard.
Big billboard with his face flashing on it. And Naz looked at it and went, "Look at that, Johnny." He goes, "You know what? I think I'm a bit nervous." I'm like, "Fucking hell, you're a bit nervous." It's 60 years. And when we mentioned it the other day, I thought, is it really 60 years? I thought it was a lot longer than that.
I mean, we weren't around for 60, were we? Because it started 65 it started, when my brother was born in 64. So I think my dad did it as an escape route, really. He probably thought, I've got an excuse to get out of the house, because at that point, he'd only had one kid. So he got this gym going. It was only probably a year after he was born. And I can just remember, obviously not then, but my first recollections are going in. We just walk into this building, it's stinking, sweaty, one or two bags and just like old men kind of moping around. That's what I saw, but I wasn't in it all the time. So, for the first, I think probably when it became a bit more clearer to me was probably like 74, 75, when I got a little bit older, when I was about 8. Then we had an idea. We used to go in the gym, me and my brother John, play football, climb on the bags, wrestle in the ring.
I know everybody went mad about Harold Graham's footwork, but Walter Clayton, white guy, Irish was he?
Well, no, and he wasn't Irish. He looked Irish.
But a white guy, but his footwork was just smooth. It was like his feet didn't move, and I used to think his footwork was amazing. He had fast stands, but his footwork was so smooth, and you just couldn't see that difference.
We had another fighter called Robert Wakefield. He was a good kid. So we had a good amateur section. They won a lot of stuff. And my dad started getting popular. All these kids started beating all the previous champions, and the gym started to take off. And we just got more and more people coming in. It was packed all the time, and I always just remember, probably stood outside the house, and obviously Winkerbank at that time where we lived. I think there might have been one black couple who lived there in like probably a 4-mile radius. And you look at the bottom of Newman Road, and you just see people walking up. They dropped off the bus, walking up. It was like a line of ants, but multicoloured ants, like black, and black Indians, Pakistanis, blacks, and people were stood on the doorsteps as you're walking past them terraced houses on the right. Like, where have these lot come from? Because you didn't really see it unless you were over in town.
Who was first at the gym out of you two?
Well, I went as a kid with the Bradleys. I went with
Nigel and Thomas Bradley.
Nigel and Thomas, and I was still at school. And Naz were a little kid. We were smashing everybody. I had these horsehair gloves, I can remember, and they were like, "Don't spar with me," you know what I mean? Me, Martin Lally, Tommy Bradley.
So Naz was that kid, that little kid that always wanted to spar with the men. Hit it because he could punish him as hard as he can.
Yeah.
And hit him accidentally on purpose in the face.
Exactly. Yeah, but we kind of, like, when I was a little kid, even Naz were a superstar to us then, because it was like Tom Bradley would say, "Oh, this kid is my mate Naz. He's fantastic. He's going to be the next big thing." And
my trainer probably rang Brendan and says,
"Who was it? Who was the trainer?"
It would have been Dave Randall.
Oh yeah, Dave Randall. Yeah.
Dave Randall rang Brendan and said, "Oh, come, I've got any sparring." So this is the first time I've had anybody do an edge job on me.
Brendan got you, didn't he?
No, you got me.
Yeah. We double tag team.
So I walked in the gym, I'm standing there waiting for him to spar. And he walks in, he goes, "Johnny, I've got somebody to spar with you." I remember he had this big long trench coat on, they usually were, on his back here. So.
Was it that green thing?
Yeah, that green thing, yeah.
So about 10 years, never washed it.
Yeah, right, so you're Brendan, and I'm Johnny. He's looked at me and gone like, he went, "Can he fight?" Dropped the bag and walked off. Yeah, dropped the bag and walked off. I'm going, "What was he?"
Yeah, I'm sure,
Yeah. Right, so I got in the ring with him, and I'm swinging like mad. Can't hit him. He hits me in the throat, doesn't he? Standing.
I mean, he swallow your gum seal.
Yeah. Anyway, got out of the ring and I
Junior shot.
I like this.
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, and I thought, well, with my aggression, if I can take some of this,
I'll be all right.
Yeah, that's the reason. Yeah. That's the reason why I came up to show.
I remember when I first started in the gym, and I saw Harold Graham doing a boxing exhibition on Fargate.
Oh yeah.
What Brendan would normally do is get the fighters to go around and do boxing exhibitions everywhere. Yeah. And then it was on Fargate, and Brendan said, because Brendan was different then, he said, listen, this is the only place you can hit a black man and not get arrested. Who wants to hit him in the face and he can't hit your back? And then he was like, me. And so people having to go trying to hit Errol, and Errol's got his hands behind his back, slipping and moving. Who's next? And everybody, all shapes and sizes, trying to hit Errol. And I thought, he's just looked he's not from Nottingham, so you know he's a bit cocky. And I'm like, put me on the I'll have a go. And I went in slinging shots, couldn't touch him. And Errol's laughing at me with his hands behind his back. And he just dug me in the stomach. And then I thought, I don't like him. And then years later, when I came down the gym.
How long ago? How much later?
I was probably at 14 then. So I joined the gym about 15.
Yeah, you only about a year. It wouldn't have been long, because I can remember you coming into the gym.
How old was I when I went to the gym? About 15?
15,
about 15 years old. And
you look like Grace Jones. I just remember thinking, we got Grace Jones here, and I'm sparring with him, and it's funny because he got all these daft moves, and I'm thinking, what does he actually know what he's doing? I'm watching him, and his arms are going all over. I'm just thinking,
I saw it on television. I said, look on TV.
I said, this kid's he's useless. What's he want a box for? He's never going to do anything, this kid. But like, I just can remember Grace Jones, slave to the rhythm or whatever it was.
But I liked it because of that dysfunctional situation down there.
Well, they were all dysfunctional, weren't they?
Yeah, and all the characters.
Yeah.
But I think probably one of the best stories that I remember is a guy called Pele Reid. And Pele Reid, he knocked out Vitaly Klitschko in the K1 on the K1 circuit.
Cold.
Yep. He hatchet job, boom, foot down. You can see it on YouTube now if you check it out. And he kept whacking everybody. And you said to Pele, stop. You've got to stop hitting everybody on the chin because it's body sparring. And he complained to you saying, well,
these little guys are taking advantage.
They should be showing me respect. They're not showing me respect. And so then I'd spar with him, he'd whack me in the chin and like split that sternum there. You spar with him, he's trying to whack you out.
I'll tell you my story with that in a minute.
Keith spar with him, snapped his jaw.
Accidentally on
and we all were like, nice one, Buster. And Pele was a nice guy, but he was just a bit, he
gave me concussion, like basically proper concussion.
But
every week.
I think he was an actor with
Mom, I didn't even know my name. But the point, my mum would be like, "You all right?" And I'd be like, where are we? I didn't know where I were.
You lived in a deja vu, didn't you? You lived in a deja vu.
Your mum would be like, "Oh, it's smelling."
I always remember when he boxed Julius Francis in Bethnal Green. It was absolutely rammed. Everybody comes to see Julius Francis win, and really Pele should have beat him. And he just old man Pele Reid out of it and stopped him.
I took Julius 4.
Yeah, you took him 4. I think he might have done maybe 2 or 3, but
I've got you a fight. The kid's a bit heavy. What's his name, Brendan? I can't remember the kid's name.
This is before the internet.
He didn't want me to look in boxing news and I'll find this kid's record. And I got down there and I went, oops.
He were only 4-rounder though, weren't it?
I was supposed to box him.
Yeah.
But they're seeing Paddy Riley as a record.
Yeah.
And they went, yeah, we'll fight him. And then they did their homework and went, nah, you've had his area. They went, no, I'm not fighting.
Yeah, because Brendan gave you the name Paddy Riley, so nobody remembers from the amateurs. Yeah. But then once they knew it was you. It's like you had Paddy Riley, Fidel Castro Smith had Slugger O'Toole.
Yeah.
So you think either one, once you find that, so Fidel's proper name was Fidel Castro Smith.
Yeah.
Brendan said change it because I think Fidel's last fight was against Nigel Benn in the amateurs.
I was there.
Did you watch the fight?
Yeah, I was there.
Who won?
It was close. It was very close, very close.
Nigel Benn, I think, and Fidel said he broke his hand.
Yeah, he did break
his hand.
Yeah.
But Fidel had a reputation, so Brendan said, look, we've got to change your name so people don't know it's you to get your fights. And he bought me a big green velvet cloak to put over his head. So when you get in the ring, you just whack it off. Big black man stuck there.
Yeah.
So after a while, everybody know who Slugger O'Toole was.
He once one of the fights, I took him down to Brighton and he boxed a journeyman called Lee Wicks, who were unbeaten. He ended up a journeyman. He was from Brighton, popular kid. And he wasn't anything special, and Fidel absolutely boxed his head off for 4 rounds. It wasn't even a fight, and he gave it the other way, and he absolutely flipped it. And he goes, "What's all this?" I went, "Welcome to professional boxing." Yeah. And that were it. And nobody. And I think the referee, I think it might have been Roy Snipe, who was the brother of a referee, amateur referee in Sheffield. One of the Snipes, never particularly got on wheels.
And I remember when Harold came to spar with And when Chris Eubank came to spar with Herald, and we'd be watching Chris in the gym, and Fidel was itching to want to get in, and Brendan wouldn't let him spar together. He said no, because you might fight him one day. And he got the face on. Then he was really pissed off with it. And Chris had come in the gym to spar with Herald, and Herald was absolutely battering him day in, day out, day in, day out. And Chris is taking the shot. He's got proper hard head, whack, whack, whack. And for the first time, Chris hit Errol. And when he launched a shot, and he didn't just put Errol down, he put him on his back like a cartoon. Boom! Errol landed on his back. And it's the first time I saw Errol get put down. I'm like, oh my God. And Brennan went, lock the door! Because people were in watching. It was a Sunday. You know, Mick Lee and everybody had come in. Lock the door so nobody could get out and tell. Because I think Errol was training for, might have been Mark, no, I don't know if it was Mark Kaler. I can't know who Errol was training for. But Brennan said, lock the door. Errol's drunk as just got up, and I thought, shit, Errol's gone. And then
Brendan, get in, Johnny.
Brendan said, carry on to Errol to make him finish the round. And I was like the drunken master. He's all over the place, and Chris is kind of trying to slaughter him. And then he said, oh, all right, I'll do you, Errol. Out you get. And he said, Johnny, get in. And I'm like, So now I thought, you ain't doing that shit to me. And I'm all over the place, and Chris stopped stamping his feet.
Jumped out of the ring, didn't he?
And he said, Brendan, tell him to stand still. And I looked at Brendan, and I started laughing. He went, Johnny, stand still. Give me that one.
Surprising though, isn't it? As trainers now, you see so much more than you actually see as a fighter.
Yeah.
And what Brendan would see and what we'd see now, he says, oh, you're boxing a kid called, what's his name? Tucker Richards from Manchester.
Oh, yeah.
From Birmingham, yeah? I'm like, I boxed as an amateur, so I already beat him. But this kid had just dropped Lennox Lewis in sparring, beat some good kids, and I'm like, why do you want me to fight him? He's Midlands area champion, and he had 2 fights. I went, all right. Anyway, I beat him anyway. But I'm just going back to the point that you trainers see a lot more.
Yeah, because you don't look at the big picture, do you? No, they've got to look at you've got to look at every variable, haven't you?
Yeah.
And then we've got box rec where you can check through stuff. Back in them days, my dad had a book that thick with phone numbers, and it weren't in alphabetical order, even though they got all the columns or whatever. And he'd look through the book, and there'd be somebody's name scribbled down in pencil or faded, and different pages. It's in here somewhere, and he'd have all these numbers, and he'd just sit in the house in his office. And he'd be on phone till about 12 o'clock at night, phoning around everybody. What's this? Oh, this kid who's boxing, Naz, what's he like? And he'd phone around 5 different people. If you were boxing, he'd phone around everybody. Have you had him sparring? You know, get all the background information on them before you go, because that was the only way to do it. Now it's all there for free on social media. Everybody's giving the game away.
I want to say a big thanks to our sponsors, Bet Goodwin, for supporting That Boxing Show. Now, if you're interested in having a little flutter, or as I call it after my dad, Benji's Bets, Bet Goodwin's the place to be. Check out Bet Goodwin using the QR code on the screen. My first experience in London, I mean, as a young man, was Brendan taking me down to the Boxing Board of Control dinner at the Savoy. And I must have been about 17 years old, and he said, we're going to the Savoy. He used to take us all, do it all at some point. And I borrowed one of his jackets because I didn't have a suit. I had my school uniform jacket. That's the only jacket I owned.
You couldn't get badge picked off, could you? Big time.
Yeah, and it was green. Yeah. So I went down.
Kind of gets game away, doesn't it?
I went down, and when I got there, I'm thinking, oh my God. In fact, I was younger. Because I was still at school, because I can remember thinking, no one's going to believe this when I go back to school. So I must have been 15, 16. So we went down to the Savoy, and I'm like, oh my God, big chandeliers. Frank Bruno was there, Michael Watson was there. I'm like, Jesus. Brendan's jimmied me in, and my name's not even there. I'm somebody, got in. You know, you kind of media trainers from the very beginning, taking us to Radio Sheffield, or talking to people that come in the gym and make us all frigging start dancing and singing in front of them. But it was just to bring us out of ourselves. But trainers don't do that anymore.
No.
And I suppose you're like Marmite. People love you or hate you. But I get it, because you've seen how it was with your dad, so you thought, you're not messing me up.
Well, I'm going to change that now. I'm going to change it to chocolate. I'm that good I can eat myself. Have you heard that one? Have you heard that one before? So I'm going from Marmite now to chocolate, yeah? So refer to me as chocolate.
If you use chocolate, bleeding eating.
But I get that. And that's why I thought, so when people don't get you, I say, well, I don't want, as a fighter, I'd prefer him not to waste his time.
The thing is, we might have disappointment you might have a fight, you might have a career of like, you had 50 odd fights, didn't you? So every time you got beat was this disappointment. So let's say you lost, I don't know, 25% of your fights, which you probably did. 20% maybe?
Yeah.
So you've had 20 lots of disappointment now. We had 20 lots of disappointment with you. We had so much disappointment with him. We had certainly had a lot of disappointment with him. So it's like compounded every single time. So you only got to go through it. We have to go through it every single time because realistically, back in those days, in order for me, John and Brendan to earn money, because we never took money out of the gym. That just ran the gym. We had to have a champion in the gym to get the money. So it was a constant battle of keeping titles coming. British champion, he had 4 title challenges. You boxed for British title, you did everything. You needed somebody who was winning, because if you didn't have a title holder in the gym making the big money, it kind of subsidised your ability to be able to train everybody else. You could spend time in the gym and then train everybody. And it's not like, and obviously we know the story when Naz came into the gym, he said, Brendan, I want you to kick everybody out of the gym and just train me, I'm paying you enough. And I said, well, if Errol Graham had said that to me when you first came in, he goes, you wouldn't be in there, would you? He said, so I'm not doing that. Are you just greedy? Because it's not to do with greed, it's to do with bringing everybody else through. We go, I'm paying for all this. He went, yeah, you are. And then people paid for when you got no money.
Naz tried to get you and John to train them up.
Oh, that was after he left type of thing. But that was a conversation I was having the other day with somebody, how it all ended with Naz. Because this film's coming out now, Giant. It's coming out in January. I don't know if you've seen it. You haven't seen it?
Not seen it yet.
No.
I'm waiting.
He's in it. He's in it. He's got a cameo role. He's stood in background, like looking intelligent, which is.
And the butterbean.
So, but yeah, that's another story for another day. But yeah, you need to get the wins because you're committing your time to it. And we were never, we were always in the gym, weren't we? We were in the gym morning, noon, and night. It's not like we just came in for a morning session. Did that. We trained everybody from the top to the bottom. There was always somebody. I can remember the day my dad said to me, you're going to have to come and help us in the gym. I'm thinking, that's the last thing I want to be doing, training people. They don't do as they're told. They're not disciplined enough. Before that, like I say, I can remember not the first time, apart from boxing, but when my dad, he were trying to get me into boxing in some form. He tried to get my brother to be a referee. He got me as a timekeeper. So I did timekeeping for a few years, going around to all the shows. Did some big fights, Lennox Lewis, Barry McGuigan. Did a few fights. I did that, and then as I was doing that, I was taking people out abroad because he'd never leave the gym, would he? So he was training you a lot, and we'd have people like Martin Smith, boxing abroad, Tony Booth, boxing abroad, Holland, Belgium, him boxing abroad. People boxing in Russia all over the place. Yeah. So I was the one.
You are John.
Well, yeah, John. John got the better jobs because he took you to places like Brazil and New Zealand and Australia.
As world champion, the worst thing, sparring partner I had, I'd fly him, get him in to spar, was him. Yeah. And so, because I'm thinking, and he was trying to swat. I'm like, Buster, what you doing? You'd be trying to kill me as a sparring partner. I'm like,
broke my collarbone one time. This is a good story about him. So we used to spar all the time, me and him. Yeah. He'd come in from work with his bag, thought he's knackered today. Keaton is knackered, looks worn out. It's got to Wednesday, alcohol's worn off at weekend with him. So I'd be waiting for him. I'd have had about 10 cups of coffee, and I get in and we start at it anyway. This one day, I'm just getting topside. He's falling to pieces. After 3 rounds, I thought, I've got him this time. He's done. Next minute, he just put his head down, and I'm stood southpaw, and he just put his head down. He just threw an overhand right, bang, and hit me. And I went, oh, Keaton. Oh, stop. He went,
I thought you were faking.
He went, come on, stop, what's wrong with it? And I went, I think you broke my collarbone. He went, don't be stupid. I went, oh, come on then. I went like that, pick me arm, I couldn't pick my arm up. So anyway, I went to hospital, you've snapped your collarbone. Anyway, so I'm thinking, I'm cursing him. This is about 4 or 5 weeks before your boxing Cole Thompson. So I'm taking pads with one hand, with the arm in a sling. Yeah. So a couple of, maybe 6 months later, I bumped into a fighter called Stevie Howden, used to box for us, an amateur blonde-haired kid, come off of Parsons Cross. Yeah. And he'd been coming down sparring previous to me and him sparring, and then he just disappeared. So I bumped him. I said, "Oh, you going on, Steve?" I says, "I see you down at the gym for a while. Like, what's happened?" He went, "Oh, because you're not going to believe this. I went down here because I went in late after work, and I was sparring with Buster Keaton. He's only going to snap me collarbone out." I went, "You're joking?" He went, "Yeah." He goes. What's happened to you? Though, that actually weren't because it was a bit late. Because he snapped mine as well. He went. I said he never said it because I never knew because he was never. Because I wonder where he went. So he never come to the gym and said, "Oh, you snapped me collarbone, Keaton." So that was his thing. But it probably happened weeks before because he used to whack me on there all the time. He probably got an airline fracture in. Yeah. Worked over time. And then he went.
Yeah. Well, I think in the ring, you used to see some black marks on the ceiling. And when Naz flipped over the ropes, we all tried it, but he was the only idiot to do it publicly.
Boots would scrape along.
Yeah, boots would scrape on the flat and he'd land at our back. But I remember once Marty Smith was sparring with Harold Graham, and they started, and I was sparring with Brian Anderson at the time. So these four of us were in the ring, and Harold Graham and Martin kept getting at because they kept hitting each other accidentally on purpose on the chin. So Brian's trying to split them up, behave himself, and Brendan said, change over. So then Martin changed over with Brian. Next minute, Brian and Martin are at it. So Martin's whacking everybody on the chin, and it was just like, and he didn't care. Yeah. He didn't care, but it was like we
he
were
had
like
bad eyes.
Yeah, we were like a dysfunctional family in the gym. Like everybody's trying to smash the granny out of each other, but we all travelled like a proper rat pack.
Yeah.
But I think the best days, and I've seen them come and go, was the Naz days, because we all went away. And even though Naz would say, he'd want us all to go with him, everybody thought we were his paid entourage. But he paid for the flight and paid for the accommodation. But if you were working and you took 2 weeks off work, you lost 2 weeks' wages. You had to pay for your own food when you were there. But we all went because it was like a busman's holiday.
Yeah, good crack.
And we had a good crack. And we went all over the place. Or New York, when Naz boxed in New York and Michael Jackson. Did he come to the gym?
Yeah, that Blue Velvet. I didn't know. No, that was Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Michael Jackson
Blue Velvet.
was in the gym. Proper fanboy he was, and we were taking the mick out of Naz because Naz was always giving Michael Jackson stick before because of all the rumours about him, and then all of a sudden Michael Jackson found of Naz, and so we're just think you're a new boyfriend. Nah, it's not like that. It's cool, man. Made him all right.
Yes.
But I think in New York, P. Diddy turned up, Michael Jackson, the Beckhams turned up. What's his name? Brad.
I like how you mentioned P. Diddy and Michael Jackson in the first two lines.
Yeah, but it was different. But it was great because when we
didn't have anything to do with Epstein, did he? He went to that.
But it was great because when we saw him, we thought, geez.
Jeffrey Epstein, he went. Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew, yeah.
I bet somewhere down the line.
There's probably Epstein's in the back watching that spy. But back then, it was for us from Sheffield and Derby. It was like we're thinking, Jesus, all these people have gone to see Naz. And Naz then, I think it's the first time I ever heard him say he was nervous, not scared. We were driving through Times Square, and there was on Times Square there was a big billboard with his face flashing on it, and we were in a chauffeur-driven car, and Rief's in the front, and Naz looked at it and went, "Look at that, Johnny." He goes, "You know what? I think I'm a bit nervous." I'm like, "Fucking hell, you're a bit nervous,
It is, you need to be.
And
The whole Times Square had a picture of him.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what we're missing.
Go on.
Stinger Mason. Yeah. Stinger Mason.
No, he did Sting. So Stinger Mason, Paul Mason. I think he lost to Joe Kawasaki.
Yeah,
Joe knocked him out in the second fight, whatever. Now Stinger is a lovely guy, got a good heart, but you can't understand that goddamn word he's saying.
I always remember when he boxed, I just think he's got massive legs, but he used to be a kickboxer, didn't he? So I used to take him all over the place.
Stinger.
One of the most memorable things with Paul is we got a call to go and fight in Germany, and he's fighting this kid. It's in Klitschko's gym, and the fighter was a fighter called Jürgen Bremen who became a world champion, a vicious fella, southpaw. So we gets over there, good money as well. Back then, right, it could be 20 years ago, we won about 4 or 5 grand, which would feel a lot. So we get to this place and it's a gym, and they've just got a set of tiered seating, and then just a ring against that back wall. And anyway, it's early at night and we're getting ready, and I sees this like 4 police officers coming with this fellow with handcuffs on. What the hell are they doing really? Walked him in front into changing rooms. Says to fellow around me, I went, "What's going on?" He goes, "Oh, that's who he's fighting." I went, "What?" He went, "Yeah," he says, "If they let him out of prison to fight." I went, "You are joking." So they let him out of prison to fight with Jason Collins, and they take him back to prison to his lane. I think it lasted about 2 rounds. He didn't get hurt.
I remember the Amphi days, and that was just like a dream for me.
Yeah,
because it was like
so
working every day and being your sparring partner.
And Jason Statham's as well. Remember
Jason Statham's in Kelly Brook's sparring partner.
So Amphi it's a place out in Gran Canaria. we got a deal where the Amphi, the holiday resort, gave us a deal where it said you can come out here and use this as your training camp. So we went out there. The Klitschkos were there. All the top German fighters were there. Jason Statham, he had a penthouse, and I think he was with Kelly Brook at the time.
Yeah.
and we were having a barbecue, weren't we? And he said, yeah, we're having a barbecue, weren't we? And so was there, and Kelly Brook, and she went quiet. Casey said, I've got a shoot on why. He said, have you seen the paper headline, Kelly Brook sacked? Yeah. Well, what's the record then for the champions turn out in the gym?
Well, I've got it on a list somewhere, but just off the top of my head, it's about 15, 16 British champions, 5 European champions, 4 or 5 Commonwealth champions, and we've
How many world champions?
Nas was first, then you, then Junior, then Kel, then Barry. So 5. So 5 that we did homegrown. Then we had people like Billy Joe Saunders come, and he world champion. Well, Silky Jones had gone by that time.
He started off there.
Yeah, he started, and then he went and he won the WBO. We had Nicola Adams as well. She actually Nicola Adams came and trained when, prior to both Olympics, because she used to come up. Nicola Adams from the EAS, which is only a couple of miles.
I don't think they liked to come to the gym, did she?
No, they probably didn't, but she was smart, Nicola Adams. She thought outside the box, and I always remember she'd have an egg on, and she couldn't even tell. You just think it was some young lad. And we put people in sparring with her, and like kids and whatever, and she'd be getting topside them, and then we'd say to them like she's a girl, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're joking." But she won Olympics twice, and then she went on to become. We trained her when she was a professional world champion. So yeah, we've had a few. We've had a lot of success over.
What's your best memory, Don?
Well, I've got lots, Anna, because I know you were in the gym a long time, but you kind of finished in 2005, didn't you?
Yeah.
That's 20 years ago.
November 2000.
Right, so then think I've been here another 20 years.
Yeah,
I've done a double life sentence type of thing.
Unreal.
You got like there's a lot more. There's another 20 years, isn't there? Because if you think when you box, like you started pro at 18, you finished at 38.
Yeah.
So you're the same age as me. So you finished at 38. At 38, I'm still training people for another 20 years. Yeah. I can remember, my life goes in timelines of world title fights or important fights and training camps. And I always remember certain moments.
Like Kel, when he beat Sean Porter?
Yeah, I mean, it was a strange one, that, because Kel, I always look at Kel's career and think he should have been world champion at 22, 23, not 28. But when he boxed Sean Porter, we were over in Vegas for 2 weeks, and then went to LA, and he had a great camp. And it's the same thing, the psychology again. When you walked into the gym and Johnny goes, "You can fight him." So when we went to Sean Porter, we went to fight him. He trained in Las Vegas as well. And the week of the fight, we flew to LA, went into LA. And they're having all these public workouts. So Eddie, he'd be at this public workout for this time. So he rolls up and we're getting ready, and film crew comes in, and he's in the ring, Sean Porter doing his stuff. Well, he's not in the ring, he's bandaging up. So I says, "Kel, quick, get your bandages on quick." And there was a big ring and a small ring. Yeah? So I get your stuff on quick. Which ring did I put Kel in?
Big one.
So he jumps up in big ring. All of a sudden, he looks up like doing this. So Kel's shadow boxing. So film crews all getting a bit agitated. Excuse me. I goes, "What?" She goes, "Can he not be in that ring? Can he go in the other one?" I says, "Why?" She goes, "Well, Sean wants to go in that one." I says, "Well, we want to use that one. Tell him to use the small one." Yeah, but each champion. I says, "Yeah, but loud enough for his dad to hear, who was sat there. Yeah, but after the fight, he's not going to be champion. So why don't you put him in?" You what? Looking around like, so you can see in the red already. So I goes, "Come on, Kel, get out." So he does another round, gets out. So Sean Porter, it's week at fight, he's just doing a bit of technical sparring. It's nothing just for cameras. So he's got this fella who's about 6'1". Sean Porter's about 5'6". Kel's about 5'8". And Sean Porter, and this kid at 6'1" throwing hooks. And Sean Porter's dipping a little bit. And I'm saying, and I've got this reporter talking to me, and he's talking about camera. I said, "Well, I mean, look at this, what's this all about?" I said, "He's 6'1". I said, "Sean Porter's dipping under a 6'1" hook." I says, "Kel's like 5'9". I says, he'll be walking straight into that left hook all night." And Dad's up on the side at ring, like looking down at me because I'm seeing it in earshot, and you can just subliminally dropping it in. Another time he goes to a public workout, his dad's in ring, he's got Sean with a sweatband across his eyes, and he's got the pads in front of him saying, "Jab," and Sean Porter's jabbing him, and he's hitting pad, and he's going, "Oh," he goes, "Left, right," and he's left, right. I went, "Take a step to the right and tell him to do it." What? I go, "Step to the right." Who's this English fella showing off here? Yeah. So he's like, anyway, so after workout, he's on his phone, he's got his phone in his hand, and he's a biceps like that. He don't look bad, and they're snapping his arm. I went, "Because that's not a bicep." She went, what? This fella, I said, that's not bicep. You want to see Kell Brook's bicep? She went, can we have a look? He's come behind this screen. So she went, oh my God, everybody come running up. They all left him. Hey, oh man, look at this guy, look at the shape he's in. Because Kell was up, because he's big, he was shredded. He looked 10 times better than Sean Porter.
The mental warfare, what I didn't realise when he done me first with it, understand? And I was like, I used to do that as an amateur anyway. I used to talk smack. I've always talked smack.
Yeah.
What Brandon has done over the 60 years and other people that's been in and out of the gym, but it doesn't define you as a boxer. It's what you do after you box.
Yeah.
Oh, that's one of the biggest things, yeah.
You know, people have won titles and have done this and that's what they've got to show for it. And they've not really done anything else after boxing.
One of the biggest, you know, I always say to people that it's a pyramid. You've got the champions at the top and that's just part of it. But to be honest, an iceberg, the iceberg and everything underneath, the kids who didn't end up in prison, who went on to better education. There's loads of kids who've, you know, become millionaires, they've become very successful in business, education. All right, a few have gone to prison. But a lot of those kids could have gone down the wrong track.
And they're the true champions. They're the true stories, and that's unless you were there on the ground, you wouldn't understand how.
But they all had the belief to look up to you a lot, thinking, oh, he's done it. He's come from, you know, like me. So he's come off of Netherthorpe, and he's come from so and so, and he's come from whatever. Yeah. It's like anybody can do it. Nazi Imam's come from Winkerbank, and he's conquered half the world, won every title. So you know, there's a lot of success there, and it's the same thing. It's not just about the boxing and the champions where we think, oh, you know, that's all down to that. It's not. That's just the motivation to get the kids to come for something to aspire to. So, like I said, there's all these unsung heroes from the good old days, from the past, who've done really well in life, and that's really what the gym's all about.
Yeah, we spoke about people that you don't know, but they were part of the gym's history. That's that Boxing Show with me, Johnny Nelson, and my old friends, best friends.
Thank you.
Here on the show.